السلام على رسول الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونعوذ بالله من شر نفسي. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلني في عين صغيرة وفي عين آخر كبيرة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, min anfusina, from our own selves, from a human being. And he sent this messenger with a teaching. And this teaching took a light to where formerly there was darkness. It took blind eyes and it opened them up so that they could see. And the essence of his da'wah was summed up in an ayah of Quran in Surah Al-Yusuf. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي. Say, this is my way. أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ. I call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ, with an inner sight. أَنَا وَمَنْ اتَّبَعَنِي. I and those who follow me. The Prophet ﷺ taught us Islam, and he taught us by wahy. And this is mean that everything that he brought was given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Jibreel. And the prayer without any intercession. This is ibadah, the prayer without any intercession from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what we do 5 times a day. So we have this teaching, this Islamic teaching. And we see in the Muslim world, or what we call the Muslim world, from Indonesia to Al-Maghrib, to Morocco, we see something quite different. Something very alien if we understand Islam. And this can cause some of us trouble, turbulence. It causes many Muslims difficulty because Muslims want to know why, if Islam is true, were we defeated by the kuffar? The ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they have no sabil. They have no way ala al-mu'mineen, over the mu'mineen. So we have to ask, why? Why are we a defeated ummah right now? And this is what I want to talk about. The first thing I want to mention is that the Prophet ﷺ said on a shura hadith عن أنس قال رسول الله ثلاث من أصل الإيمان. 3 things from the basis of the Iman. 3 things from the basis of Iman. We heard earlier from the brother, Dr. Muzammil Siddiqui, about the Iman being what the Muslims talked about instead of Islam. And this is a very important point. And inshallah, this is really, we will call the Ummah al-Hawanish, the Ummah of margin, because once somebody of worth made a statement, then the lesser people came along and they made statements on the side of the book. So inshallah, what I'm saying is on the side of the book of brothers Firas Wahaj and the other brothers who spoke. Because we know the truth. We know all of these things. I can speak and speak and speak, and you can hear and listen and hear. We know the truth. But what we're lacking is an ability to implement the truth in our lives. So we see that the Muslims have what we call madalla in Arabic, which is like humiliation. And we wonder why there's this humiliation. When we look at the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, radiallahu anhu, he said in the beginning of his Musnad that the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith sahih that إِذَا تَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ, if you leave jihad, إِذَا تَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ, if you leave jihad, وَاتَّبَعْتُمْ أَذْنَابَ الْإِبِلِ وَتَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَةِ, if you leave jihad and follow the ibl and cows and these things, it will become agricultural, start growing food and these things. And this is important, it's not negating that. But if you leave jihad to do these things, and you begin to sell with credit, Allahu Akbar, you begin to sell with credit. Traditionally, Muslims didn't use credit. You bought something, you paid for it. You begin to sell with credit. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in two riwayah, one, يُصَدِّقُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَدُوًّا, He will put over you an enemy. And He won't give you victory over that enemy until تَعُودُوا إِلَى دِينِكُمْ, you return to your deen. And in another riwayah, He said, تَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ, Tawbah. You want to know about Tawbah? Read Surah Al-Tawbah. If you want to know about jihad, read Surah Al-Jihad. This is Tawbah to Allah, to return back to the meaning of this teaching. Because this teaching came to bring truth, to bring light, to bring education, to bring knowledge to humanity. To all of humanity, not simply the Muslims. And this is what the Muslims did. If you look historically, the Muslims spread out very rapidly. Great Sahaba, great Tabi'een, great Tabi'een. They spread out very rapidly. When they get to France, they're defeated by Charles Martel. They're defeated. So what do? Instead of preparing again and continuing on, they stop and they say, we have Allah. Europe very cold, it's dark, the sun never shines, probably hard to find Qibla. And we'll go back to Spain and enjoy ourselves. And this is what they did. And they spent 800 years in Spain bringing a civilization that the world has yet to repeat. A civilization that the world has yet to repeat. With the witnessing of the enemies of Islam, the kuffar, and the Muslims themselves. Read what they say about the history of Al-Andalus. Read about the ulama. Read about the simple people that lived in beautiful houses, that ate beautiful food, that had wonderful women. Read about the level of education. Read about their civilization. But then they moved back and they stopped the jihad. And in the National Geographic, they had an article about the Muslims being defeated in Spain, and they had a map and it said, the sun slowly fades. It wasn't written by a Muslim. The sun slowly fades. What came after Al-Andalus? The Inquisition. The Inquisition. Millions of human beings. Millions. Because the Inquisition was officially closed in the mid-19th century. The Inquisition burnt human beings at the stake. The Inquisition took somebody because he said La ilaha illallah, or even he said that Moses was the messenger of God and not Jesus, and burned him at the stake. This is what they did. Their methods, they're getting better. Now they have, instead of having to get wood and light a fire, they can just fly over a very high altitude and drop a bomb that explodes in midair and fries human beings. Fries human beings. You saw their pictures. 17-year-old, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 20-year-old human beings in the prime of their life. And what is their crime? That they're under a tyranny, that the very people that destroyed them, put in power, maintained their power. And we can take many examples. We don't have to use that example if that offends you. We look at the tyranny that the Muslims live under. We look at the fear that Muslims live in. And I've lived in Muslim countries. I know the fear. I've visited houses, and I felt the fear that the people have because I'm visiting them. Because I am a human being, a Muslim that says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and I visit a brother Muslim that says the same thing, and the security police are there 5 minutes after I leave, questioning them. This is a common occurrence for many human beings on this planet. So the Muslims have jihad. So what is jihad? Do we chop people's heads off? Do we hold scimitars over poor, helpless Christians and Jews and say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, or we'll kill you? This is what we're told. Because most people, unfortunately, including the Muslims, don't read hard books. They read what the kuffar have to say about our teaching. But if you read what our people have to say, if you read what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then you'll see a different picture. You'll see a very different picture of Islam. You'll see a very different picture of al-jihad. Jihad is struggle. Life is struggle. We're in the realm of struggle. This is not the realm that appears in the Akhirah, which is where things very clear, the Ashab al-Jahim and Ashab al-Jannah, the Ashab al-Yamin, Ashab al-Shimal, everything's clear. It's very simple. No, we're in a different realm now. We're in the realm of struggle. Existence is a struggle. It's a struggle to get up and face the world. In this day particularly, more so than in the past times. So the world is struggle. The world is jihad. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, Sahih, that Imam Nawawi quotes in Arba'in Nawawiyah, he says that he is telling the man about Islam, and he says that the Imaduddin, the basis of the deen is prayer. And what is the basis of prayer? Purification. And what is purification other than a symbolic, ritual, repetitive symbol that indicates in its essence the purification of our own heart, the purification of our actions. When we do wudu, why do we clean our mouth? It's cleaning every foul thing that comes off of our tongue. Why do we wipe our eyes? The things that we looked at that we shouldn't have looked at. Why do we clean our noses? Why do we clean our heads? Why do we wash our hands? Why do we wash our feet where we walk to, where we shouldn't have walked to? This is purification. And then you enter being purified into the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. And you leave behind everything else. And you say, Allah is greater than this world and what's in it. This is the Imaduddin. And then he said sadaqah. What is sadaqah? Sadaqah is what you give out extra. These are fard. You have to do these things. Sadaqah comes from sincerity. And so you become sincere when you give out. It's burhan and it's nur. It's a proof of your iman. And it's a light that you spread. And the spreading of it, mashallah, is the sumbala. It's like the grain that has many seeds and gives much fruit. It's sadaqah. But what's the essence of the Islam? What is what the Prophet ﷺ said? أَلَا أَدُلُّكَ عَلَىٰ ذَرْوَةِ سَلَامِهِ? Can I indicate to you? Can I point you? Can I direct you? This is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can I direct you to the acme of the pinnacle? To the top of the peak. In other words, Islam in itself is a peak. What is the top of the peak? Al-Jihad. Al-Jihadu fi sabilillah. This is the top. This is the pinnacle. And then he says, can I direct you? Milat kulli sada. What's the purpose? Milat can mean purpose. What's the purpose of all this? Take hold of your tongue. Hold your tongue. Make jihad of your nafs. Make jihad of your nafs. Look at us. We're all engaged in condemning each other, in criticizing each other, in separation, in divisiveness. And these are all excuses for not acting. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith sahih, مَا ضَلَّ قَوْمٌ بَعْدَ الْهُدَى إِلَّا أُوتُوا الْجَدَلِ. A people never go astray after they were guided, except they're given argumentation. The brother talked about Adam and Eve taking from the shajara. You know what shajara means in Arabic? It's from shija, to dispute, to become argumentative. Yushajiru. The sickness of the heart. The returning of Allah is going back to guidance, not divisiveness. This is what shaitan desires for the Muslim, is to divide us. And the nature of those who follow him is divide and conquer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, look at Fir'aun. What does Fir'aun say? قَدْ عَلَى فِرْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Fir'aun has exalted himself in the earth. وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيعًا. And he made its people sects, divided. Look at this country. I went to Folsom Prison, and I saw these are the most oppressed people in this society. You can condemn them and say what they are. They're the most oppressed people in this society. And I saw over here the white Aryans, and over here is the Mexican Mafia, and over here is the Bloods, and over here is the Crips, and over here is the Muslims. They're all oppressed, and they don't see who the oppressor is, and they fight one another, they shoot one another, they kill one another. You live in a city where it goes on every day. But Islam is talking about something else. It's taking people, giving them light, opening their eyes to the truth. And that comes through jihad. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Asl al-Iman salat. The root of this affair of Iman is three things. Al-kafu amman qala la ilaha illallah. Not speaking about those who say la ilaha illallah. Leaving them alone, not harming them. Al-Muslim man salam al-Muslimun min yadihi wa lisanihi. The Muslim is the one that other Muslims are safe from his hand and his tongue. One man was told that so-and-so said such and such about you. He said, Adam yajid shaytan ghayrak, litanqul hadha al-khabar. Didn't shaytan find somebody else to bring me this news? You're the only one he could find? This is a different perspective. This is a different way of looking at reality. We have to accept our brothers. Islam is a universal religion. It is a dar. We call it Dar al-Islam. And with full ihtaram, the crew, I think that the distinction of Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb is a beautiful distinction. The reason I think it's a beautiful distinction is because Dar al-Harb is turbulent. Imam Malik radiallahu anhu was sitting amongst a group of people who started arguing, and he stood up and he said, Antum harb. You're war. Antum harb. And he left the group. The Prophet ﷺ said, Atlu kitab Allah, ma ta'talabtum. Read the book of Allah as long as you're united. فَإِنْ اخْتَلَفْتُمْ فَادْعُوهُ. And if you begin to disagree, put it aside. Temporarily, put it aside. The only time He's commanded us to put the book aside, if we begin to disagree. So Dar al-Harb is a place of turbulence. The whole world is Dar al-Harb. There is no Dar al-Islam. Right now, the whole world is Dar al-Harb. Everywhere. Where do you see peace? Islam is from peace. We say, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Every day in our prayers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and the mercy of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and the mercy of Allah. So everywhere, this is what Muslims are doing, is spreading peace. The Prophet ﷺ said, you have to love one another. And can I guide you to something that would cause you to love one another? Spread peace. الذين عباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا. The slaves of the Rahman. He uses the Rahman. He could have used any name that he wanted. Ar-Rahman, from mercy, the merciful. The slaves of the merciful. Those who tread lightly on the earth. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. And if ignorant people speak to them, salam. We want peace. So this is the essence of jihad. It's striving for peace. Not war. We don't want war. The Prophet ﷺ said, أُمِرْتُ أَنْ أُقَاتِلَ النَّاسَ. I was commanded. He couldn't do it. He hated killing. It was so hard for him. He never killed one human being. Except by the one riwayah of the rock that was thrown. But he never spilled blood of another human being. He hated spilling blood. He was a man striving for peace. But what he did was he gave us a means to establishing peace. And there are two means. One is Medina and the other is Mecca. Medina, people opened their arms and said, come teach us. Teach us Islam. And he went peacefully and he taught them Islam. And the other was Mecca. Ignorant people, treating the weak and helpless horrifically. Asfal al-safilin, the lowest of the low. Using usury. All of this abject slavery. Treating women like dirt and filth. These people had to be taught how to live in another way. And that was jihad. He didn't go for their wealth. He said, فَإِذَا قَالُوهَا, if they say it, عَاصِمًا مِنِّي دِمَاءَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ. If they say it, their wealth and their blood is safe from me. I don't want your work. I don't want your blood. I don't want to spill your blood. But I want you to live in a society that is conducive to peace and justice. The basis of our teaching is adl. This is the basis of Islam, is justice. And jihad is the last means to taking that, to establishing justice. Jihad is also to defend oneself. We can look at so many aspects of jihad, but I'm not going to concentrate on those other aspects because I would go for a long, long time. And the brother is telling me that I need to close up soon. So he said, don't say he's kafir by some action he did. One man, they called him, his name was Abdullah, in Sahih al-Bukhari. Read the book. In Sahih al-Bukhari, they called him al-Himar, the donkey. And this is laqab. If a man is content with it, then they say that it's permissible. Because Allah says not to call each other by names, but these are names that one dislikes. Like Ibn Musayyib, they used to call him Ibn Musayyib. And he said, Sayyibuni Sayyibahumullah. He didn't like being called that, the one that's lost. So he said, they made me lost, so Allah makes them lost. But this man was called Al-Himar. And he used to make the Prophet laugh. He was like a jester. But he used to drink. And they would bring him and he would get lashed. And one man said, Al-Anahu Allah, ma akbarahu utyana. Allah cursed him. He keeps coming back and back. And the Prophet said, what did he say? He said, لا تلعنه فوالله ما علمت منه إلا يحب الله ورسوله. Don't curse him. Because I don't know anything from him except that he loves Allah and His Messenger. What is the meaning of this? Look at your brothers, the Muslims. Look at our state. They curse one another. But to hear the wisdom of this is that the hudud is hiding. That the hudud are being established. And when the hudud are established, then there's justice. The Prophet ﷺ said, the likeness of this world, مثل القائم بحدود الله والواقع فيها. The likeness of the one who is establishing the hudud of Allah and the one that is immersed in the hudud of Allah is the likeness of people on a ship. And then they throw lots. And so one group goes on top, those are the Muslims, and the other group goes on the bottom. So they have to get water, the people on the bottom, and they don't want to hurt the people on the top. So they say, let's open a hole here in the hull so that we can get water. So the Prophet ﷺ said, and he was given the wisdom of all of the Jawami al-Kalim, comprehensive meaning. He said, if they don't stop them, the ones on the top, they'll all drown. We're living in a time when the planet we live on is in danger. The people in this country are in danger. The people in Europe are in danger. We are called terrorists. We are terrorized daily by the threat of nuclear annihilation. It's a real threat. It exists. We're terrorized daily. Our oceans are being destroyed. Our rivers are being polluted. Our trees are being chopped down. And this is the boat. It's sinking. They're putting their whole in it. So who are the shuhada ala nas? Who are those who are shuhada ala nas? The Muslims. ذَلِكَ لِيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Allah made us a just ummah, ummah al-wasata. That the Prophet is shaheed over you. You shuhada ala nas. And you're shuhada over nas. Over mankind. And this is jihad. Jihad is establishing the burhan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His earth. Now, if we look at jihad in the Muslim ummah, jihad has become purely defensive. The second part of this hadith was jihad ماضٍ مُنْ بَعَثَنِي اللَّهُ إِلَّا أَنْ يُقَاتِلُ آخِرَ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ الدَّجَّالِ. Jihad is constant in this ummah until the last of this ummah fights the Dajjal, the Antichrist. لَا يُفْطِرُهُ جَوْرُ جَاهِرٍ. He will not abrogate it. He will not annul it. He will not make it void. The tyranny of a tyrant, وَلَا عَدْلُ عَادِلٍ, nor the justice of a just man. What iman bil-ahkam, and belief in the decree. And the last thing I want to leave you with is that the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a secret. Don't let the ta'jilu al-qadar. Allah has given us a wa'd, a promise, that this deen would be victorious. And I want to use two examples from the creation. One of them is what our brother Siraj Wahab said, and this came to me while he was speaking. I got great benefit from his talk. He said that in the end of time, the sun rises in the west. And what is the meaning of that? The sun rises in the west. Well, if you look at the dyadic nature of Islam, there are opposites. Islam is about opposites. Mecca and Medina. Allah wa Rasul. It's all opposites. And the opposite of truth is falsehood. And it's represented by the night. Allah talks about an-nur wa dhulm. Dhulm is darkness, oppression. But dhulm is darkness. So when the night comes over, it's the movement of darkness and overcoming light. Nur. And the shams is the source of light. So this is what happens occasionally. When Harqal asked Abu Sufyan, what is their war with you like? He said, huwa harbun tijal. It's a war one day for them, one day for us. And he said, كَذَلِكَ شَأْنُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. Like that is the affair of the Prophet. So we're right now in a period of darkness. Darkness has covered over the Ummah. But remember, like the sign Allah showed us the other day, the sun can be partially eclipsed. It can even be totally eclipsed, but not forever and not for always. It's only a moment in the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sun of Islam and the sun of Iman will manifest. And it will shine and it will enlighten the world once again. This is the promise of Allah. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that the Nabuwwah is going to go. And then you have Khilafah. And then you have Mulukiyah. And then you have Jabada. You have kings and then tyrants. And then you have Khilafah. Ala minhaj al-Nabuwwah. So this is the qadr of Allah. And this is the wa'd of our Rasul ﷺ. And that doesn't mean we sit around and wait for it to happen. No, we have to act and work. We are not fatalists. We're fatalists about what happened in the past. I broke my arm. I said, MashaAllah. It is gone. It happened. MashaAllah. But what happens in the future, we're not fatalists until it happens. And then we accept it's the decree of Allah. But we make things happen. This is the Muslim. We make things happen. And this is what jihad is about. Going out and making things happen, about changing the world, about bringing light. And when you do that, people will embrace you. You won't have to embrace them. The Muslims, when they went into countries, the people embraced them. When Napoleon conquered countries, they didn't all become Frenchmen. They despised them. Because they didn't go to liberate them. They went to oppress and to take from them. Muslims went to give people life. And they can keep their religion. You want to be Christian, be Christian. You want to be Jew, be Jew. But we have to protect you from yourself. We have to protect you from yourself. And this is what the hudud of Allah is about. It's a protection for everyone. And if we establish the hudud, then the boat is safe. And if we allow those under us, not technically, but spiritually. Because those, they have technical superiority over us. But Allah says, يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَنِ الْآخِرَةِ هُمْ غَافِلُونَ. They know. They know the outward of this world, but they're about the akhirah ghafilun. And akhirah is eternal. So we have to teach them. When the Prophet ﷺ sent the Muslims out, he didn't say, go to Persia and learn the know-how. Like a lot of Muslims say, oh, I'm going to the West to learn the know-how, and then I'm going to take it back to the Muslims. It's not what the Prophet said. He didn't say, go to Persia, who they were very far superior to them technically. Medina was basically a Stone Age, Virgin on Iron Age society with very primitive technology. And he didn't say, go learn the know-how, come back, and then we'll make jihad. He said, go and teach them how to live. Teach them how to wipe their backside. Teach them how to be with children. Teach them how to pray. Teach them how to see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. And this is what they did. And they enlightened the world by it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is great. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives victory to those who give victory to Him. In تنصر الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم. If you give victory to Allah, Allah gives victory to you. كونوا أنصارا لله. Be those who give victory to Allah. Allah doesn't need us. We need Allah. That's the definition of Ilah. Alhamdulillah. So the last thing I leave you with is that what is the meaning of the sun rising in the west? When it's going to end one day, this battle between Haqq and Batil. And like the sun sets in the west, which is its temporary defeat, 1 minute. Like the sun sets in the west, which is the temporary defeat of the Muslims, of truth, and the darkness covers the earth, and people go to sleep. What do people do at night when it's dark? They go to sleep. So people are asleep right now. People go to sleep. But the sun will come up, and it will rise again, and then it will set. But in the end, it will rise from where it set. Allahu Akbar. It will rise from where it set. And the battle between truth and falsehood is over permanently. And because of that, there's no more reason to do jihad. Nobody's tawbah is accepted from that point on. And jihad is tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the final hadith of Ahmad ibn Hanbal is that he says that Allah will not raise madalla, the humiliation that you bear, حتى تعودوا إلى الجهاد, until you return to jihad. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.